All right, we're live at 7:26 p.m. Central Standard Time on June 28th, 2021. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. I want to make this a standalone video, something that's short enough for people to share it. While people are still piling into the room, though, somebody made a comment. I like to listen to Brian. I like hearing his point of view, but I think you should tone down the bias against police because they are necessary and they protect and serve vulnerable individuals. Well, actually, they do more harm than good. I mean, they're revenue generators for the most part. Most of the laws that they uphold are unconstitutional, evil laws against their own code, against their own oath of office. They're violating the Second Amendment. They're violating the Fourth Amendment. They put into practice laws of politicians, and basically they're the conduit for evil entering the earth. And like we've talked about before, politicians' laws are just opinions written on pieces of paper. It's the people who are in the law enforcement class that actually put feet on that. They bring the evil to bear on us. So they do two things. Laws do two things. They take away our freedom and they steal more of our wealth. Actually, the third thing, because of those two things, is they increase the power and the coffers of the state. The last thing we need is for our enemy to be empowered, and the conduit through which that empowerment comes for the state comes from law enforcers. So if I have a bias against police, against politicians, it's because we all should have a bias for justice, for mercy, for doing what is right. Somebody made a good point. Choosing the lesser of two evils. Somebody said, if you don't keep law enforcement in check, corruption will run rampant. Exactly. Live Free or Die says choosing the lesser of two evils is still choosing evil. How about we all choose good for once and see what happens? You can't continue to do evil expecting good to come. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. It's like saying, yeah, I'm going to keep this shirt nice and white by spilling spaghetti sauce on it. It's like choose the lesser of two spaghetti sauces. It's like no matter how you look at it, that shirt is not going to stay white. Choose the lesser of two evils. That's why politics is so destructive and deceptive and disgusting, because it gets all of us on board with, and I'm just talking about us collectively as humanity, it gets all of us on board with applauding evil. While we say it's the lesser of two evils, I mean, we don't have a choice. Yeah, you do. You always have a choice. The choice to do what is right and turn away from and condemn and expose everything that's wrong. And that's just, that's not my opinion. That is demonstrably, objectively proven. You never want it's never right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. Nobody has a higher claim over your life and property than you, and live your life in such a way where you fulfill the golden rule. Do to others what you would want done to you. Conversely, don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. And then naturally, with those three things that we can all agree on, anybody who transgresses that, and it's not just an agreed upon code that the majority of us all are on board with, it's just provably right. If you're honest with yourself, and you're honest with other people, and you're not a psychopath, and you're not a liar, you will admit that you don't want somebody to steal from you against your will. You will admit that you don't want somebody violating your rights or harming you against your will and without your consent. If you say you don't mind people harming you, you don't mind it if people just break into your house at 2 o'clock in the morning and put your family at gunpoint and steal all your stuff and wreck your house and then kill your dog, you're lying. You're lying. That's what cops do. They're not serving and protecting, they're harassing and collecting for the most part. And we can prove that. Bears itself out time and time again. We got a whole catalog of YouTube videos and Rumble videos and BitChute videos and Odyssey videos that testify to it every single day, dozens and dozens and dozens of times every day. These people have qualified immunity. We don't have that. They believe they have rights that none of the rest of us do. They believe badges and uniforms and utility belts grant special rights. They don't, in truth. So let me just start. I'm going to start with this. This is just a compilation of some creepy, crazy things that Joe did this week. This is some creepy Uncle Joe whispering into the mic from the leader of the free world.
You said when people are waiting for relief.
I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far.
And how did you do that, Joe? You stole from generations and generations of Americans who aren't even born yet. You put them in bondage to the banksters, the international Zionist banking cartel. $1.9 trillion. We don't have the money.
We're $29 trillion in debt, not counting unfunded liabilities. So what is basically Creepy Uncle Joe admitting to there, right there, that fake stream media and almost all of America in the world are just perfectly fine with, for the most part. There's some of us that are awake that know what's going on. We didn't have the $1.9 trillion. You can't give what you don't have. And if you created it, you fabricated it out of nothing, then basically you shackled us with more and more and more debt. Who are the creditors? Who are the debtors? We're the debtors. When you get that check in the mail, good. Glad you got that check. Guess what's going to happen to your food prices? Guess what's going to happen to gas prices, energy prices, home prices, cost of living? It's going to go up like crazy. Don't think for a second. We did a little research on this. If you received, what was it? If you received $1,400, that $1,400 is going to cost you $5,689 when all's said and done. So there's a catch. And am I saying don't take that IRS check and cash it? Am I saying that it's not going to benefit people in the short term? I'm not saying that at all. But we have to feel a little short-term pain so we can experience long-term prosperity, i.e. we need to get rid of the banksters, get rid of the easy credit, get rid of the dishonest money system, get rid of the scam. So I understand why people are, that short-term, $1,400, man, that's going to help me just a little bit. Not much, but it'll help a little bit. All the while, gas prices are going up, commodities are going up, food prices are going up.
They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for
Not
child
really.
care. Just remind them, I wrote the bill on the environment.
I wrote the bill, and when I write a bill and it becomes the law, more freedoms are taken and more money is stolen.
Anytime some congressman or senator writes a law, even if it sounds like it's a good law, it will always end up costing you more money and costing you more of your freedoms. It is rare that a tyrant, a psychopathic tyrant, is going to come to you going, I am here to do you harm. They always come to you under the cloak of, hey, we're here for your safety and for your security and for your protection and for your prosperity. We're here to give you things. We're here to be your savior and to save you. It's just going to cost you one thing, just a little bit of your freedoms. And they've already created some circumstance where they brought about some kind of crisis, or a crisis was already on the horizon and they already co-opted, and they will never let a good crisis go to waste. So they know it's going to incite fear, which is the second plank of the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. It's always a fear-based reaction. And then people get to the point where they're like, well, it is the lesser of two evils, the very thing that we started this conversation with, this live stream with. Well, let's choose the lesser of two evils. Let's choose the less apparent psychopathic person for the even lesser apparent psychopathic person. Trump was better. Other people on the other side, well, Obama was better, Biden was better, Bush was better, Reagan was better, and all the while that Democratic or Republican president got us deeper into debt, filled the coffers, deep in the coffers of the military-industrial complex, tightened the grip, the tyrannical grip of the federal government, enacted more gun laws.
Why would I not be for it? Pay them more.
It's just creepy.
This is an employees bargaining chip now. What's happening?
What is when he says pay them more? What's he saying?
Pay them more. The federal government is going to tell businesses how to operate their businesses and they should pay employees.
That's why you don't want a federal minimum wage. What if you sat across what are you talking about, bargaining chip? If you want a job and the government has already said, you know what, we're going to increase it from $7.25 or $7.50 an hour to $15 an hour now. What does that do for small businesses? Small businesses are going, man, I had room to hire like 2 or 3 more employees. Now I got to take the 3 employees that I currently have and get rid of one and put all 3 of those jobs on just 2 people. And eventually I'm going to have to get rid of that second person and just put it all on one person. So now they're eliminating jobs that could be had. And the guy who actually wants just a, an entry level job, he sits there and he goes, hey, I'll take $8 an hour. And you're like, well, I can't do it. My hands are tied. There's a federal minimum wage law of $15 an hour and I just can't afford it. No, that's okay. I'll work for you for $8. Do you realize if I started paying you $8 an hour, people would think that I was treating you as a slave and they'd be saying, hey, I'm conducting criminal activity because the feds have said that I need to pay you $15 an hour. Yeah, but here, I'll put it in writing. Here, I'll sign this right here. I'll work for $8 an hour. I don't care. Don't even give me benefits. I just got to feed my family. Sorry, I can't do it. Because as soon as I agree to that, federal government's going to come in and arrest me and take me away from my family. So what the federal government has done with minimum wage is put a government gun in front of your face of small business owners. And I'm talking about small business here. I'm not talking about corporations who are government funded and get tax cattle subsidies. I'm talking about the mom and pop shops that started their own shops. The government has no right to tell you what you can do in your store, up to and including what you can pay your employees. I know it sounds fair, but guess what? Guess who gets the short end of the stick? The workforce. The workforce gets the short end of the stick. It's like, sorry, we can't afford you. Or they start automating things like in McDonald's. They're getting rid of all those checkers, the people who take your order, and they're just setting up kiosks. Like, well, we can't afford you guys. We said we could so that we can run out our competition, but now we have bankrolled money because we're a corporate entity and we're getting government subsidies. Now we can afford to get those kiosks and then run the rest of the restaurants in my area out of business because now they can't afford to keep a workforce. This is good for us. That's why Walmarts will continue to thrive. Lowe's will continue to thrive. All the big box stores will continue to thrive because we know that the Convids 1984 by George Orwell doesn't roam the halls of Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart. Everybody else had to shut down, though, not the corporations. They had to follow the guidelines, but they could stay open. The mom and pop shops, they had to close. Why? Because they're in bed together. Corporations and government are in bed together. Governments are corporations. Corporations are government. This is a Title 28, Section 3002, 15A, federal corporation. Look it up. It's even in their own laws. Now let's listen to more creepy Uncle Joe here.
We're leaving out a lot of people here. I apologize. I'm going to get in trouble. But anyway, we'll get back to that. But
I'm going to get in trouble.
There's a lot that is happening. Police Chief Murray of the Baltimore, Police Chief Murray, Police Chief Murphy, Paul of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We hold these truths self-evident that all men and women.
The script just kind of writes itself, doesn't it? Who needs Saturday? Saturday Night Live sucks compared to this, man. If you want some real comedy, just turn on fake stream media. CIA infiltrated, Operation Mockingbird, Lamestream, MK Ultra Media. Don't take anything they say seriously because they're 100% of the time, 99% of the time lying. They got to put that 1% of the truth there just to lead people along. But this is comedy gold, and yet it's tragic at the same time. It's hilarious and it's tragic. It's hilariously tragic.
We haven't lived up to it completely, but we've always widened the arc of commitment and included more and more people. Those who say the blood of patriots.
That's all, folks. Those who say the blood of the patriot tyrant, there's something. Come on, man. You know the thing. It's in there. Everybody knows what Jefferson said. Come on, man.
And all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons.
This is the same guy who said that the government was almost toppled on January 6th by the insurrectionists, the unarmed insurrectionists. This is so funny, man.
Vladimir Putin laughed at the suggestion that you had called him a killer. Is that still your belief, sir, that he is a killer?
To answer the first question, I'm laughing too. And Mayor Daniela Levine Cava of Miami-Dade.
That's hilarious, man. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Senator Mike Gravel from Alaska, but listen to this. This is the Democratic candidate debate Listen to what he says about everybody on the stage, including Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton. Check this out. This is classic, man. This is almost along the lines of what a Ron Paul would say.
It's like going into the Senate.
By the way, this guy just recently died. He died sometime this week. But check out how he manhandles everybody on the stage here.
You know, the first time you get there, you're all excited. My God, how did I ever get here? Then about 6 months later, you say, how the hell did the rest of them get here? And I got to tell you, after standing up with them, some of these people frighten me. They frighten me. When you have mainline candidates.
Look at it. All these morons up here are laughing. I think this guy might be serious. Is this still part of the Dog and Pony Show? Is Mike Gravel? He's a senator for Congress. Congress is the opposite of progress. We know that Congress was bought a long time ago by, the ISRA ... HE double hockey sticks. But these people are small, and this is Dog and Pony Show. What he says, I'm taking very, very seriously. This is a criminal right here. This is a criminal right here. Joe Biden's a criminal right here. This guy's a criminal. All these people are criminals on the stage. And what Mike Gravel is about to say is absolutely 100% true.
To turn around and say that there's nothing off the table with respect to Iran. That's code for using nukes, nuclear devices. I got to tell you, I'm President of the United States. There will be no preemptive wars with nuclear devices. To my mind, it's immoral, and it's been immoral for the last 50 years as part of American foreign policy.
Let's use a little moderator discretion here. Senator Gravel, that's a weighty charge. Who on this stage exactly tonight worries you so much?
Well, I would say the top-tier ones. The top-tier ones. They made statements. Oh, Joe, I'll include you too. You have a certain arrogance. You want to tell the Iraqis how to run their country.
Joe Biden, I'll include you too. You have a certain arrogance about you, as do all political parasites.
I got to tell you, we should just play get out. Just play get out. It's their country. They're asking us to leave, and we insist on staying there. And why not get out? What harm is it going to do? Oh, you hear the statement, well, my God, the soldiers will have died in vain. The entire deaths of Vietnam died in vain. And they're dying in vain right this very second. You know what's worse than a soldier dying in vain? Is more soldiers dying in vain. That's what.
Yep, absolutely 100% true. Was Mike Gravel still a part of the Dog and Pony Show? I got no doubt about that, man. I do not trust any political parasite, suit and tie, going to be there to take away more of your rights, more of your freedoms, more of your finances, tapping into the time and laboring energies. All right, guys, here's what I wanted to talk to you about. This guy, I don't know if anybody has heard about this guy named Kevin Strickland. He's 61 years old. The guy's been behind bars since he was 18, guys. At 18 years old, he was put behind bars for a triple homicide that he not only didn't he do it, he wasn't even there. And he had an alibi. So this guy has an alibi. There was zero physical evidence against him. And the real criminals who actually partook in the crime cleared Strickland and said he wasn't even there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and spill the beans. The two criminals that came forward and said that they committed the crime already did their time. They were put in jail, and this crime was committed in 1978. They were put in jail in 1979. And each of the two criminals, Vincent Bell and Kilm Atkins, did only 10 years each. They got out in 1989 and 1990 respectively, and the guy who didn't do it and wasn't there, and there was no evidence against him and had an alibi, is still in jail. This is such a travesty of justice. And here's the kicker to the whole thing. People will march for George you-know-who from Hennepin County. March for that guy. But I have never seen, and there might have been, but I've never seen a march for Kevin Strickland. I've never seen a worldwide global outcry, or at least American-wide outcry for Kevin Strickland. Listen to some of this right here. It is freaking sad. And picture yourself or your mom or your dad serving 42 years for a crime they had nothing to do with. Oh, here's another kicker. None of the prosecutor who originally prosecuted in 1979 died in 2019. And all the people who knew this guy said that if they knew the evidence that was against the other guys and zero evidence against this guy right here, they would have never prosecuted him. Everybody knows, who knows anything about this case, everybody knows Kevin Strickland didn't do it and is innocent and should be a free man. Even the governor knows. The governor of Missouri knows that Kevin Strickland should be free, and they're going to keep him locked up because of bureaucratic freaking red tape. Nobody's going to make the executive decision, and the governor can, and just say, you know what? This is a travesty of justice. When injustice happens to one man anywhere, injustice happens to all men everywhere. I wouldn't want this done to me or my family. Heck yeah. Matter of fact, if you are the governor or the president of the United States, wouldn't you request, one of the first things you would do after you got rid of the drug war and the war on terror and the military industrial complex and the IRS and the FBI and the CIA and the DEA and the Federal Reserve, and started just kicking ass and taking names? I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Wouldn't one of the things be, hey, compile a list for me? As long as I'm president, why not? Compile a list for me of all the names of the people you know didn't commit a crime. For starters, free Schaefer Cox, free Julian Assange, free Bradley Manning, free Kevin Strickland, free Jeffrey Winehouse, and the list goes on, guys. We could sit here and do this all night. Innocent people rotting in jail, having done nothing wrong. Nothing. Amazing, man. Just absolutely amazing. Listen to this.
Yes, I am an innocent man, totally innocent, and the state has known it all along. Cynthia, as you read in her first police report, she only was able to identify 2 people. She didn't know who the other 2 people were. Well, these Harris boys, they know me to socialize with the guys that she was able to identify. So they start just throwing around, hey, well, was Naughty one of them? And she said, well, Naughty, that sounds good to me.
He's talking about Cynthia Douglas, who was a witness and actually was shot that night by the assailants, Vincent Bell and Kilm Atkins, and she pretended like she was dead, so she basically made it out alive. I think she died in like 2011, but when she realized the mistake that she had done, because basically she was railroaded into just giving a testimony of guilt against Kevin Strickland by the prosecution, she was filled with remorse, and for years and years and years tried to get Kevin Strickland free, and they still wouldn't do it.
Because he was short and light complected, had hair on his face, whatever. She knew me. She knew that wasn't me. She was in what they call a trap nowadays, a dope house.
So she was in a tough situation, and they basically had her over a barrel and said, listen, Cynthia, her name's Cynthia Douglas, we need to prosecute somebody, and you need to just identify somebody. They pigeonholed her. She said, okay, Kevin Strickland did it. Good, I'm done.
She's afraid. I don't know if law enforcement
that is not justice
with that or whatever. It's not looking good, Miss Douglas. It's kind of looking like you had your hand in this. You need to tell us what we need to know. You need to help us with this, because whether you want to believe it or not, that's kind of the way law enforcement works. Now, you can accept these charges, or you can come on and tell us the deal. The people that told her, all you got to do is pick Naughty out of the lineup, and this is over with.
That was his nickname back then, Norty.
You're looking at it like, well, if that's all I have.
I got to be careful how many seconds of each of these clips I'm giving, but here's the lineup right here. Here's the lineup. And 2 of these guys, I think they were saying this guy and this guy. This is Norty right here. This is Kevin Strickland. We're saying, hey, they look similar. This guy's 5'3", this is 5'6", this guy 5'6", this guy right here weighs 140 pounds, this guy's 150. It looks real close. Just go ahead and pick Norty.
All you got to do is pick Naughty out of the lineup, and this is over. You're looking at it like, well, if that's all I have to do, I can do that. And it's like, it's just been hell since.
Locked up, zero freedom. Let me see if I can. He had another piece of testimony right here.
Did he tell the whole story? Well, she was present when he told the story. And when he got to naming off events and how it happened and who it was, her light came on. She said, man, Douglas tried to confront the prosecuting attorney and people right there at Bell's plea hearing and say, hey, I wanna straighten this out. What we did here, they told Douglas, say, you need to get on out of here. That's done, and then we'll charge you with perjury if you don't. Well, she wasn't trying to go to jail for me, so she said, oh, okay, well, I gotta go then.
So the prosecution scared her and said, hey, if you change your testimony now, you could be charged with perjury and you'll go to jail. And she's like, what? Are you serious? Douglas told her ex-husband Ronald Richardson about her misidentification. He suggested she contact this Innocence Project.
Conscience was getting the best of her. And so next thing I know, she contacts the Innocence Project. And Ronald, from what I learned from talking to him, he said that he encouraged her to do that because he could see that she was living with a burden and, baby, what's bothering you? What's going on? And she supposedly, shared that with him. I believe there needs to be a public defender's office in every police station. Ward off false confessions, improper conduct, official conduct, police conduct and whatnot, because there's a lot of that still going on. Intimidation, the interrogations.
Yeah, and that makes you question if Kevin Strickland is in jail having done nothing wrong, an innocent man who wasn't even there on the scene of this crime they said he committed, even though the evidence testifies that he didn't, alibi testifies that he didn't, the people who actually did the crime testifies that he didn't, they served their time, he's still in jail. This is so unconscionable and egregious. Look, even ABC did, this is the governor right here. This right here is Governor Michael L. Parson, the Missouri governor right now. And what I'm going to do is when this video gets done rendering, I'm going to leave you the contact information for the Missouri governor's office, and you do whatever you want to with that. I would just say, if you're going to contact them, be kind, be courteous, but be firm. Kevin Strickland needs to be free. He needs to be a free man. This guy is believing that he's going to die in prison before he even gets the chance to embrace his mother again. That's freaking pitiful. Listen to how this ABC News segment started off.
Earlier this week, Lindsay traveled to a Missouri jail to interview a man named Kevin Strickland. He's been in jail for 43 years for a triple murder he has consistently said he didn't do. The local prosecutor's office that originally convicted now agree, yet Kevin is still in jail.
The original prosecutor's office who threw the guy in jail agrees that Kevin Strickland is innocent and he's still in jail.
The state's Supreme Court refuses to hear his case. The governor so far refuses to pardon him, and Kevin continues.
Yeah, Eric, thanks, Steve Mazur. There's so many names. Eric Brandt, just so many names, guys. So many names on the list, and it infuriates you when you know that somebody like a Barack Obama or a Donald Trump or a Joe Biden could free somebody with a presidential pardon, and he chooses rather than free somebody that everybody knows is innocent. For example, Julian Assange, Schaefer Cox, this guy, Kevin Strickland, and chooses to free some of his, cronies that are completely involved in absolute corruption.
Continues to lose valuable time with the family he has lost decades being with. How could this happen? Well, our Lindsay Davis brings us this ABC News exclusive.
Yeah, let me get to the part where she asked him this question. He almost cries. Like, he can't even answer the question. Let's see. I don't know what timestamp it was. I should have wrote it down.
You remain hopeful today? You think you're going to get out this year?
More so now than ever.
But just last week, the Missouri Supreme Court denied a petition to free him, something his lawyer calls a procedural barrier.
The Missouri Supreme Court, after weighing all the evidence of what I just told you, and there's really nothing else other than that, zero evidence, solid alibi. The two guys served their time that actually did it, and the innocent man is still in prison. The prosecution from 1979, that prosecutor's office claims that he's innocent. And yet the Supreme Court, Missouri Supreme Court, is going to deny this guy his freedom.
So we don't know why the Missouri Supreme Court denied.
They don't have to give an explanation. It's just rubber stamp denied. That's it.
That's right. It was simply denied and no explanation was given.
Also last week.
How would they? It's not even human. You don't do that to a dog. It's inhuman to keep somebody locked up that didn't do anything wrong. Let me see. I want to go to this part where she asked him a question. I can't remember what the question was. Here we go.
The General's office has fought nearly every wrongful conviction case. You only want to be pardoned or exonerated, that a commutation of your sentence would not be enough. Why is that?
Oh, no, I'm not. That's kind of saying I did it, but you feel like I've served enough time. No, I didn't do it. No, wipe it off.
How does it feel to know that the two people who admit that they were responsible for the crime, Bell and Adkins, they've already served their time, served about 10 years each? They did it. They said they did it.
Listen to this.
You say you didn't do it, and here you sit.
I'm sorry. How does it feel? Ooh.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Even ABC News admits, hey, the guys who actually did it, Vincent Bell and Kilm Atkins, they served their time. They did it. They actually took the lives of 3 people. It was a triple homicide, and they served 10 years. He's been behind bars for 42. Where is the justice? This is why people give me a hard time, because I call this an injustice system. This is pervasive, guys. This isn't a rare occasion. This kind of stuff happens all the time. We just don't hear about it. We're insulated with our little free lives, with our, conveniences, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we turn a blind eye to all this injustice, and we expect justice to actually happen in our lives. This right here is one of the reasons we're getting our gun rights taken away, why our Fourth Amendment rights are being trashed, why censorship is just roaming the earth. Because when injustice comes against one man anywhere, injustice comes against all men everywhere, in just in different forms. When righteousness or justice against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of the sons of men are fully set in them to do evil. And that's exactly what this is. This is evil.
Now wipe it off.
How does it feel to know that the two people who admit that they were responsible for the crime, Bell and Adkins, they've already served their time, served about 10 years each? They did it. They said they did it. You say you didn't do it, and here you sit.
I'm sorry. How does it feel? Ooh. I don't know what title to put on that. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, how could somebody admit to doing it, come in and go out, and I denied it from the start, and I'm still here? You keep taking me back to feelings, and I really can't put them in words.
You don't feel anymore.
I'm kind of numb.
One thing.
Man, just imagine that injustice happening to you. What I'll do is I'm going to leave the link to this ABC News story and then the other link that goes into a little bit more detail right here. And I'll leave the link to the Missouri governor's office so that if you want to contact them, you can. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Just do whatever you feel that, you want to do. There's the governor's office. There's the link to the kansascity.com news article and to the ABC thing that we just took a look at. But I want to kind of wrap this up because I don't want this to go too long. People end up going, you know what? That's not shareable. That's an hour long or whatever. But I do want to end with this right here. This right here from August 29th, 2020. Judge refuses to jail pedophile who abused 6 kids because he's too you-know-what for prison. Former teacher Peter John, and meanwhile, think of Kevin Strickland, 42 years behind bars, didn't do anything. This guy does this stuff to these kids, and this judge right here, this is in Australia, but it doesn't matter. A human being to another human being, a human being who says he's a judge that's there to mete out justice, and a guy who, on the one hand, clearly did something and admitted to it with 6 children, and a guy who everybody knows is innocent. 2 completely different worlds unfolding before us. Former teacher Peter John O'Neill, 61, won't spend a single day in jail because it would cost up to $40,000 just to transport his, to jail. The judge argued that there was no point in placing O'Neill under home detention because he's too you-know-what to leave anyway. O'Neill pled guilty to 6 counts of indecent assault and 1 count of, I'm just going to highlight it, guys. I'm not even going to say that. Of a young person. You can read that on the screen. And is due to be sentenced on August 25th. And medical carrier aircraft to transport this guy. Bag of bones. would cost between $25,000 and $40,000 in a previous court hearing. The 61-year-old cannot serve time interstate for Tasmanian crimes, has no money to pay the fine, and cannot perform community service due to his medical conditions. It's almost like giving out the signal. It's like, hey, if you're going to do this, guys, make sure you overeat at McDonald's and other fast food joints so that the judge can have lenience on you, because we just can't transport them. Just can't do it. This, you know what, teacher Peter John O'Neill abused blank in Tasmania but won't be jailed due to his weight. It is a freaking joke. And then there was another one. Court corrections. There's a bunch of these. There's a bunch of examples of these. Plus, we had a well-known quote, in the words of a federal judge, serial child molester Dennis Hastert, who's second in line for president of the United States. It's just a crazy world, man. Crazy world. So what I'll do is, when this video gets done rendering, I'll be sure to put the governor's. It's Governor Michael L. Parson from Missouri. I'll put the link to governor.mo.gov so that you can contact him. There's over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you can just hit this contact button, send an email. Also, under this video in the description, I have the PO. If you want to fax, if you want to do anything like that, here's the contact us, where you can fill out a form and just say, hey, what's your reason for contact us? Hey, Governor, there's a guy rotting in jail for the past 42 years, had an alibi, didn't commit the crime, wasn't even there. The people who actually committed the crime only served 10 years, and he's been in jail for 42 years. Kevin Strickland, ever heard of him? Oh, by the way, recently, this governor right here pardoned 36 people. Kevin Strickland was not on the list. Totally agree with you, Rich Boy 214. What an upside down world we live in. Community service till it gets a jail cell. Yeah, Michael DeSilvia, it's a crazy world. It's almost like, why did this judge let this guy go? Does somebody have something on the judge? Does the guy who would have been convicted by this judge have something on the judge? What's going on here? Why would anybody do that? That would give you automatically a bad name in your neighborhood. It's like, what you freed a what? He did what to 6 little people? Man, oh man. History repeating itself, says Eric. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for joining the live stream tonight. Please, whatever you, there's 183 likes, 344 people in this room. If you get something out of these videos, if you think they're valuable, hit the like button before you leave. Please share this with everybody you know. I really want to popularize, not that I'm anything, but I really want to popularize the story of Kevin Strickland. This guy needs to be out now, right now. Not tomorrow, not in 5 minutes, not in 5 months. This guy needs to be out right now. And as far as compensating him, I think if there was anybody that was going to be compensated, it would be this guy. The only problem is they're going to compensate him not with the people who should have had the, or are responsible for putting an innocent man behind bars. It's going to be the tax cattle doing it. But I think if anybody was going to be, rewarded, it would be somebody who spent 42 years of their life, toiling away behind jail bars. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored Shadow Band live stream. Thanks for making it tonight. Take care.